Hi guys and welcome back. I'm Adam Thomas. Thank you all so much for being here. Welcome back to another time-lapse Tuesday. Time-lapse Tuesday, time-lapse Thursday. I can't remember what days I normally put these out. However, this is a time-lapse tattoo walkthrough. Today we are going to be doing a black and grey realism portrait. This was an amazing reference that my client brought in, so hopefully it should give you guys a really interesting video and give me a lot of stuff to talk about through the process. If you enjoy the channel, make sure to click the subscription button, smash the like button if you enjoy this content, click the bell icon, all the usual stuff. And if you want to check out my work and the finished tattoo, make sure to click the link in the description to head over to my Instagram. With all that being said, let's jump straight into this time-lapse tattoo. First things first, let me just get everything where I want it to be, and let's jump straight into it. So again, like I said in the introduction, this is a really cool portrait that we're going to be doing. This time I've managed to show you the process from completely start to finish. So this is me prepping the skin for the tattoo. So we gave it a nice shave, get it nice and clean. The solution that I use to put my stencil on is Stencil stuff. Again, you can find links in the description. I use carbon paper from Spirit, and I use a brother copying machine to make the stencil. So yeah, super quick. You saw me just stick the stencil on. There is a tutorial on my channel for how to apply stencils, but you can see how crispy this stencil is. It's a real nice stencil, nothing too wild. Again, the tutorials that I've done before on how to make a stencil will explain why I've got solid lines and dotted lines. Again, it just helps my process, and you can see me taking a few photos there for the Instagram, which there'll be a little video to go alongside this. So if you head over to my Instagram, you'll be able to check out that video. So we're starting here with a 15 curve mag. We're just going to carve out some of these dark shadows underneath like the lapel of the jacket. So you can kind of see on here where we've got these dark shadows. That's basically what I'm trying to get in here. Again, this was from what I remember, this was sort of World War II sort of era. This was my client's great grandmother, something like that. I'm sure I'll get corrected in the comments if he watches this video. But yeah, so we're just going through. We're just trying to get this nice sort of grey texture into the sort of the jacket section. So I'm not being too conscious about keeping everything nice and smooth. I kind of almost want to create mag marks so I can cross hatch those together, which is going to create that sort of that texture of fabric. Hopefully it'll stay in there through healing. It might not, but either which way, it's gonna be nice and smooth. So again, we're just focused on this one side on the bottom right, just to make sure that I don't smudge any of my stencil off. The stencil was hanging on pretty well from what I remember. So yeah, thanks to Stencil stuff and Spirit paper for that, staying on nice and solid. So again, we're just working our way across the lapel now. So now that we've got that darker side and those shadows, we can work backwards from those tones, making sure that we're keeping all the values solid. This is just going to blur and blend out into the bottom of the arm, so I'm not going to have a defined edge, it's just going to knit out into the skin through healing. The machine that I'm using is the Cheyenne Sol Nova Ultimate, the wireless machine from Cheyenne. Really good, really solid, really packy, really hits a punch. The needles are Da Vinci V2s, which again, there is a review on my channel about the V2s. Again, incredible needles, really good, really solid. The inks are nocturnal, so they're super black, and then their grey wash set. The white that I'll be using later is also from nocturnal. But yeah, if you head over to any suppliers, Barber DTS in the UK or any of the American suppliers, Bishop, you'll be able to get hold of everything. But again, there'll be links in the description. So again, now we're just moving over. I've sort of skipped over the tie. In the reference image, that was very light. So I didn't want to go in there at this point. I wanted to get all of my darker tones in so I can see where I sort of get to with midtones, and then I can drop into that tie and just make sure that I'm not losing any of my values and everything's staying nice and solid and true to the reference. There was two little studs on the tops of the shoulders as well, which we're gonna get some big white highlights in later on, just to make them look nice and shiny. So now my hand's massively in the way, but yeah, we're just getting that second lapel in. Again, same sort of thing, we're just cross hatching that in. So just stay nice and sort of fairly quick with the mag. Yeah, letting the mag do a lot of the work, and then cross hatching back. You can kind of see how I'm going back the other way now with my hand facing the other way. Again, that's just going to knit and just create that nice fabric texture across the top of that jacket. which as we get into the face, it'll just give us a slightly different tone and sort of texture, I suppose, finish to the face, just to differentiate between the two, to make sure that that really looks like fabric and not flesh, because, you know, flesh jacket's weird. So now we're moving into the tie. So this, again, starting with the dark and moving down to the light. So the two little creases that are on the tie, we just got those in first, and now moving from the darkest point, which is at the bottom where the light just drops off, we just fade that back up with some mid-tones. Again, still using a 15 curve mag, and just making sure that we're just staying very true to the values of the piece. So whipping over there with the light wash. I think I go back into this and just re-hit this a little bit later on, but nothing too wild. Just once the skin settled down with that light wash, it just looked a little bit too light. So yeah, we just hit that again. So now we're just going into the collar. There was a really nice big highlight that came over the top of the shoulder. Again, this era of photography is great. You get such a high quality image because they use really good studio lighting. So you're getting that nice sort of 2-point lighting across the face. So we get this real nice light cast across the top of the collar there. And I think there's another one on the other side. Not as dramatic, but yeah, we get these real nice highlights. And I think I magged a bit of white through that at the end just to really pump that up, because it did look really cool. So background wise, I wanted to keep this really simple. I don't want to take anything away from the face. There is a big highlight all across this one side of the face that I'm working across now. So I needed to get some background in there just to hold that edge. And because I got it on this one side, then we ended up doing a little bit on the other side just so it didn't have that weird imbalance with the background. So again, this is, it'll be medium wash right next to the face, and then it'll just be magged out with light wash just to keep that real nice and light. I don't want the background to be a part of the piece, but I just want it to have place and purpose, and it's not just a floating head. So yeah, just a real light wash. On this side, just where I'm irritating the skin a little bit more, it goes a little bit more red, but as we move through the day and we get a bit of Bactine on it, it just settles down and everything looks really nice, really balanced on both sides. So at this point, we just had a little stretch and then we came back and just carried on. I think we just had a little leg stretch. It wasn't anything too wild. So this is probably around sort of 11, 12 o'clock. So we're probably a couple of hours in at this point. So now I'm using a 3-round liner, again, Da Vinci V2s. Just carving out the gums on the teeth. So this will be medium wash. I want these to be fairly punchy, but I don't want to go too wild just yet because I've got no other reference around the face to know how dark I need to go with those gums. So we'll probably be hitting those a little bit more. I just wanted to make sure I didn't lose any of my stencil on that important part of the face, just to make sure that that's really in there. So instead of me lining it in, just using my liner, just more of like a really tight shader, just to carve out and irritate the skin more than anything, just on those gums. So at least I've got some structure there. So as I'm working through and I'm wiping off, I'm not going to lose any of those important tight details. You can see already how I'm starting to lose the bottom lip. So I'll probably nip up there in a second and just carve a little bit of that out. So just working around the side of the face, getting like sort of the heavier shadows in, so the bottom of the chin, and then just where this big highlight on the one side is, just getting that off the side. You can see I'm just diving into that bottom lip now, just to make sure I've got that carved in. Just before I start losing that. So the last thing I want to do with portraits, especially when it's a family member, is lose any details. So you get away with it very slightly if you were doing, say, like a celebrity portrait that's got very iconic features. It's always going to look, or potentially always going to look, like that celebrity. When it's a family member, you've just got to nail everything from the reference, just to make sure that all those little tiny details that you might not see, but as a relative, they're going to see those little details. So you just need to make sure it's 100% accurate. You don't want to lose any information from your stencil. So again, we're just focusing on the darker shadows first of all, and then we're magging out from those. So the creases on like the little, like the cheeks where like the smile lines are and stuff like that. You can see already how those teeth look really nice. The fact that I've just carved them out and just put little effort in as possible with the teeth. So that sounds really strange, but you find a lot of the time people will be so tempted to line in your teeth, put big heavy lines around, and it's just going to ruin that realism look to the piece. You want everything to look as close to the reference, and you want to stick to what you see and not what you think you see. So a lot of people think that they should have these big separations between the teeth, but sometimes little is more with your portraits. So So we're going through, we're using a lot of this will be dark wash, but just sort of feathered in quite light. We want everything to stay fairly true through healing. We don't want it to sort of drop out and look too washed out. So we do want it to be that little bit darker, like 10% darker than what you want healed. So when it does heal and it drops down, you just keep those nice values and everything looks really nice and solid. So just bumping up a little bit darker on that background. Now it's settled down, I can see that it just needs a little bit more. So yeah, just carving a little bit more of that out. So with my hand right in the way, on the far side of the face, we just got a bit of the hair in because of where the ear sat, the ear was quite light. So yeah, just where that ear fell, the hair was quite dark, the ear was quite light. So I wanted just to get the dark of that hair in, which will just give me that carved edge. So without me having to put any lines in and stuff like that, it will keep it nice and solid. So now we're doing the similar thing to what we did with the teeth, but we're going to go in with black. So with the eyes, you've obviously got the outside of the iris, the pupil itself, they're going to be really dark. So you want to make sure that you've got those in really nice and punchy just to make sure that they really stand the test of time through healing. And it's just going to give you a real sharp looking eye. So yeah, anything that's like a real crisp dark line, just go in with your liner, get it in nice and solid. Obviously be aware of the line weight that it's supposed to be. You don't want to go in with a big heavy liner and put big solid lines in. Be aware of what you're trying to do, but yeah, definitely get things in solid. You want to get that nice solid look. So now we're starting to get a bit of the hair in. So this will be, so this is taking a lot of the hit of the light. So this will be dark wash dipped into black just to give me that slightly darker tone, but just quite not black. As we move throughout the hair, there are elements like this bit here, for example, where it's sort of rolled over and it's underneath in shadow, where we do want that black tone in there. So we want to make sure that even though the hair was fairly black for that throughout the whole of the hair, obviously, we want to make sure that we do have tones in there. We're not just flatten it all out, get it all black. We want to make sure that we've still got strands and we still got all like the nice curls and the flows through there. So now we're back into the eyes. I can't, so I'm back with my liner, same as the other eye. So we're back with a 3-round liner, just carving out those lines exactly the same as the other eye, black and then dark wash, just to make sure that we're keeping that really nice and punchy. And now we're back with a 7 curve mag. I think I just saw it. So the 3 needles I'll be using today will be 3-round liner, 7 curve mag, 15 curve mag. So if it looks like a big mag, it's 15. If it looks slightly smaller, it's the 7. And if it's not a mag and liner, it's definitely a 3-round liner. So yeah, that's the long and short of it. The angle wasn't the best that I had the GoPro on, to be fair. Like my hand does get in the way quite a lot, especially on this side where I'm doing like the black X. I want to sort of work with the curve of my wrist so I can get the hair and the strands fall in the right way. So for me, being able to sort of flick my wrist around, that's naturally going to follow the curve of the hair. So I don't want to be trying to force my hand. And you're just going to end up with wobbles and hair going in weird and wonderful ways. So you want to really focus on where those hair strands are going. If anyone's interested in how I do my stencils for my hair, drop it in the comments. I do have, not an interest, but it is I do have a way that I do my stencils for hair. You can really overcomplicate how you do hair stencils for portraits. It's a little bit scary the first few times because there's very little information there, but you're mainly just looking for movement within the stencil. So yeah, if you want to know how I do my stencils for hair, drop it in the comments and I'll look at getting a video made of that. It'll be a short and sweet one, but it's yeah, once I started doing it this way, it definitely made my life a lot easier doing portraits, especially with the hair. So now we're just re-hitting a lot of the hair just to make sure that it's got that dark look to it. Like I say, I've gone through, I've got all my strands in. So now I just want to make sure that it's, yeah, it's got the right value. So it's got that real sort of black hair look without it, like I say, just being a real black silhouette. So across the face, I just want to get some light washed over the top of the face. So we're starting to get that rollover on the forehead. So like I say, with the way the lighting's shot, we do see the curvature of the face. So I want to make sure that we're really getting that in there. So this is all with 15 curve mag now, just so I can get it nice and smooth. Don't want to use the 7 because it's going to look a little bit too choppy. So yeah, we're just hitting the eye socket. So obviously where the light's being cast, we're creating these shadowed areas underneath the socket. So just paying attention to where the light source is. paying attention to where these shadows are getting cast, making sure everything's nice and clean. And yeah, just making sure we've got these values and the shadows in exactly where they should be. At this point, I'd probably put a bit of backting on, 1, to settle everything down a little bit, 2, to make my client feel a little bit better, because I am going over a few little bits now. So this is, a lot of this will be with medium wash and light wash, just to get that smoothness in the skin tone. So just smoothing out all of those heavy tones that we put in before. So we just carved out a little bit of the teeth. There we go, that was a bit more backting just to make everything feel a bit better. So we wrap it up just for 5 minutes. Just wrap it up for 5 minutes just so that it just takes that edge off a little bit. So now we're starting to go in with the white. So we are getting through this quite quickly. So this again will be with a 3-round liner. So just go around and just hitting those real harsh highlights. So the little glints in the eyes, the sort of the little moisture bit that you get at the bottom of the eye. A few little highlights in the teeth. Again, not colouring the teeth in, but just making sure that we're aware of where those highlights do fall on. That's where we're getting them in, as opposed to just colouring the teeth in white, because teeth are supposed to be white. You want to pay attention to your reference and make sure those values are correct. The big highlight down the side of the face, I'm pretty sure I mag all that in later on. This portrait wasn't done that long ago, so I do remember pretty much what I did to an extent. So yeah, just give that a wipe down, and then I'm pretty sure I switch over to a mag. Yeah, so now I'm with my 15 curve mag. So this is now just going to smooth out a few areas and just get everything real nice and soft. Just take away a few of the mag marks. So again, we hit all that big highlight. We're just hitting some of the strands. So with the mags, you can use it on the side, and that's just going to give you a real nice sort of soft sort of line. And then the same way you do the hair strands, we're just going back in and doing that in reverse. So just magging the white over the gaps, that's going to give us a nice smooth look. So all the areas that haven't been irritated, it's just going to sort of soften everything out, sort of knit everything together, give you that real nice airbrush finish to the piece, as opposed to it looking really choppy. We're just going through and just really making sure that those highlights are as punchy as the low lights in there. A little bit more backteen, because I'm obviously feeling generous. So we've already hit that highlight down at the bottom. And yeah, I believe that is that portrait done. So I will pop up the finished piece here. That is the portrait done. As you can see, that's how it all looks. If you want to check out the image properly and have a big sort of zoom in and have a good look, make sure to head over to my Instagram. There you'll find the finished piece plus the little video that was promoted for this YouTube video. So you can go and check that out, which will give you a shortened version of the time lapse, obviously without the walkthrough. Again, if you enjoy this content, make sure to click the subscription button, click the like button if you enjoyed this time lapse video, and make sure to check out my playlist with all my other time lapses on. I really enjoy doing the time lapses. For me, I find it really helps my process, seeing everything in fast forward. I can analyze the way I do things, and it makes my tattoos better. So hopefully it helps you guys out as well. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you all on the next video. Peace.